So this is the final problem, 10th problem in the assignment 7. Here we have given a singly linked list and we need to check if this list is a palindrome or not. So if it is a palindrome, we need to return true. If not, we will be returning false. So if let's take this example and to find if it is a palindrome or not, what we can do is, so first we need to find the middle of this linked list. So in this we have 5 nodes, which the middle is the third node here. Then after the finding this middle node, then from the node after this middle node we are going to reverse this list. So now the list becomes like this. So after reversing this second half, the list becomes like this. Now what we are going to do is we'll compare the first node and the first node in the second half, and we'll continue this comparing until the second half reaches the null. And if at any point if the both nodes values are not equal, then it is not a palindrome. So how do we find this middle node? So for finding the middle node, we'll use the 2-pointer method, also called as hare and turtle method. So we'll have 2 pointers. One is H and T. Both start at head, and H takes 2 steps at a time, and tail takes one at a time, and this will continue until the H reaches the null. So once the H reaches the null, the node where the second pointer, the T pointer is at, that is the middle point. So when H takes 2 steps, it will be at 1, and it will stop here because once the next node for this is null. So now the T is at node 3, which is the middle node. So after we have the middle node, then we need to reverse all these nodes, reverse the second half of this list, and once we reversed it, then we just compare the nodes and returns false if there is any values that are not equal. If not, finally we will be returning the true because it is the palindrome. So we'll have like two, so we can have even number of nodes and also the odd number of nodes in a list. So when we find a middle node, so for this we have odd number of nodes. So now we have this 3 as the middle one, but let's say we have this one, and this is a even number of nodes, and for this we'll get the middle point at 2. So 2 is our middle point. Now what happens is we need to start reversing from the next node to this middle. So even if it is a odd number of nodes, we need to start reversing from the next node to the middle. Okay, so let's write the code. Function is a palindrome. It will take head as an input. Now first we need to find the middle of the linked list. So first I am declaring a variable called mid, in which we will find the middle node. So I am writing a function get middle node. which I'll be writing later. So when you pass the head to this get middle node function, we'll get the middle point of the linked list, which is stored in this variable mid. And then I'm declaring a variable called left side as head. So because the left half, the first half starts at head and the second half starts at the second half of the list. So let's say right side equals to reverse list of mid dot next. So when we are comparing the right side of the list with the left side, we first need to reverse the right side. So for that we are sending the mid dot next to the function called reverse list. This function reverses the second half of the list. Then I'm declaring a variable called result, which is a boolean, and I'm initializing it to the true. So let's start a while loop which continues until the right side becomes null. So here we are going to check we are going to compare the two nodes at both at left side and the right side. So let's say this is the list that we have after reversing this second half. So here is our left side, and right side is starts from here. So we will be comparing both of these values. So left side dot value not equals to left side dot value. If both of them are not equal, then we need to make result equals to false. So if in a palindrome, if anywhere we get this right side dot value is not equals to the left side, then we can just break it there, because it is not a palindrome. So we are breaking it here. Then if it is equal, we need to make right side equals to right side dot next. Left side equals to left side dot next. So the left goes to the next node and the right goes to the next node. So this process is continued until the this right side reaches the null. So once it reaches the null, the while loop stops there, and if it reaches the null, that means it is a palindrome. If not, because in the middle, if any two nodes are not equal, we'll make the result is equal to the false and we'll break the while loop. So the while loop stops here, and we just need to return the result. So this is the code, but we still need to write two functions, get middle node and the reverse list. So let's write both of them. First let's write the reverse list. So function reverse list. So let's assume the node that we got here as a head. So if head is null, then we'll just return null. If it is not null, then I'm declaring a variable called previous, in which I'm initializing it to the null, and also the variable called current, in which I'm initializing it to the head. And also let's have a variable called temp, so which stores the temporary values. And I'll start the while loop while current not equals to null. While current not equals to null, what we need to do is, in the temp variable, I'll be storing the current dot next, because let's say we have these three nodes, and we are reversing these three nodes. So for reversing, what I'm going to do is, this is current, and in the previous we have null. So I'm making current dot next to the null, which means one dot next is null. So if one dot is next is null, and we are making 2 dot next to the 1. So when we do this, we'll lose the connection to this node 3. So that is the reason we need to store this next node in the temp variable. And once we store it, we'll make current dot next equals to the previous, and previous equals to the current, and current equals to the temp. So we have current. If we take this example, in the current we have 1, so we are making 1 dot next to the previous. So previous is null, 1 dot next is null, and previous equals to the current. So previous equals to the 1. And here the while loop ends here, and then we need to return previous. So this is the code for returning the reverse list, and then we still need to write the get middle node function. So let's write the get middle node function. And its input, let's assume its input as head. I'm declaring two variables, h and t, and initializing the h to head, and t to the t also starts from head. And while loop starts here, which checks if h dot next is not equals to null, and also h dot next is also not null. So once both of these conditions are true, what we are going to do is we'll make h equals to h dot next, because h takes 2 steps at a time and the t takes 1 step at a time, so that by the time the h reaches the null t will be at the middle node, and we just written the t, which is the middle node. So t equals to t dot next, and we just written t. So this is the code for getting the middle node. Now let's check if this code works with our example. So let's take this example. 1 2 3 2 and 1. So first we need to get the middle node. So mid equals to we are giving the head as an input to this function. So first we need to get the middle node function is here. So h starts at head, which is 1, and t also starts at head, and we check if h dot next and h dot next. So both the values after the h are not null. So the h becomes 3 because h equals to h dot next, and t becomes 2, t equals to t dot next. And after this we check if h is here now and t is at 2. Now h dot next is not null and h dot next is also not null. So h comes here and t comes here. So h becomes 1 and t becomes 3. Now the h dot next is null. So this while loop stops here and we just return the t. So t is at 3 and 3 is returned. So here we get mid equals to 3. Now in the left side we have head, and right side we are calling a function called reverse list, and for this we are giving as input mid dot next. So mid is at 3 and 3 dot next is at 2. So 2 is given as input to this reverse list function, and here we have this reverse list function. In this we'll check if head is null, and head is at so here we got 2 as input, so head is not null. So we get previous equals to null. So this is the list we have given as input to this reverse list, and current equals to head is 2, and we have temp. So while current not equals to null and current is not null because current is at 2, we are making temp equals to current dot next. So current is 2, current dot next is 1, so temp is 1, and current dot next, which is 2 dot next, is previous is null. Now we are making previous equals to current is at 2, and current equals to temp is at 1. Temp is at 1. Now again we will check the while condition where current is not equals to null. Current is at null, so current is at 1, so which is not null. Then in the temp we will store current dot next. So 1 dot next is null, so in the temp we will have null, and 1 dot next becomes previous. So in the previous we have 2, so 1 dot next is 2, and 2 dot next we already have null, and previous equals to current, which is previous equals to 1, and current equals to temp is null, so we'll get current equals to null. And in the while condition we'll check if current is not null, but we have the current equals to null, so we'll return the previous, which is 1. So this is going to be returned. So in the right side we have 1, 2 and null, whereas in the left side we have 1, 2, 3, 2 and 1. So this is the one we have in the left side, and in the right side we have this. Now we enter this while condition, and we'll check if right side is null. So in the right side is at 1, it is not null, so we'll check if right side dot value is not equals to left dot value. So in the left we have 1 and in the right we have 1, so both are equal. Then we are going to make right side to the right dot next, left to the left dot next. So this becomes 2, and this also becomes 2, and both are equal. And then left side becomes 3 and right side becomes null. And so right side becomes null, and when it checks the while condition, right side is null, so it does not enter into the this while condition. And finally we are going to return the result. So here we did not get the right side value not equals to left side value, so we didn't change the result. So in the result we have true, and the true is returned since this is a palindrome. So for this input we'll return true as output. Thank you.